Hey, welcome to another chapter of Stelmo's Rants and Raves. I'm Stelmo. Let's jump right into this. John Solomon, who I respect for years and years, this guy's been banging out the great news stories. He's he's showing the whole world what a investigative reporter actually looks like, and perhaps if few more people would study and learn from those lessons, the world would end up being a better place. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that. So anyway, he runs an article and he says Stacey Abrams subpoenaed as part of Georgia Senate's probe into campaign violations. And when I read this, I said, "Well, this is certainly a welcome event. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything." But the question I have is, it seems to me, if my memory is working correctly, that Stacey Abrams, it seems that Doge found some illicit activity involving her and her allegedly charitable organizations. And lo and behold, not another word has been heard. I mean, so when I read this, my question is, where are the feds investigating Stacey Abrams for the crimes that Doge released to everybody? It's crickets. It's crickets. I don't know what it is with Donald Trump and the DOJ, but there's something. His first pick, Jeff Sessions, I thought was going to be a winner. He certainly was a winner. Something changed him. Something changed him. The rumors were out there that he liked young women. And so the only thing that I'm led to believe is that somewhere along the line, someone found out some derogatory information on Mr. Sessions and let him know that they had it, and they expected him to act accordingly. Because as Attorney General of the United States, he did like a 180 from his whole previous life. And so there had to be a reason for that. And I suspect, we know that a lot of information was released out there by whistleblowers. And we know that the CIA had tools where they could search both written and oral, and they can search these things for keywords. And we all know that the federal government is copying or retaining copies of all our emails, all our text messages, all our phone calls. And, they want us to believe that they're only saving just the basic data on the phone calls, the parties involved, and perhaps I shouldn't say parties, but the phone numbers involved and the length of time. But I think it goes much deeper than that, because we find a number of inexplicable things that happened over the years. And one of them is Obamacare. Now, we're told in the original vote at the Supreme Court for Obamacare that Obamacare was going to go down the tubes as being unconstitutional. But who runs to the rescue is John Roberts. Now, I would like to point out that there was a John Roberts who went to Epstein Island. And of course, our Chief Justice denied it was him. Now, there are two John Roberts out there in the public domain. The other is a reporter. And I'm here to tell you that Epstein, the last thing Epstein wanted on that island was a reporter. So we know it wasn't that John Roberts. And I don't know of another John Roberts who it could have been. And let me say, not that I know everything or anything, but Epstein only picked rich and powerful people who he could use, who he wanted to get under his grasp. so that he had the material so that these people would do whatever it was that he requested of them. And anyway, in the aftermath, and this has to be pointed out, John Roberts claimed that the reason he changed his vote is that he believes that a duly elected president should be entitled to get his platforms through without any problem. Well, okay, Mr. Chief Justice, if that's really the way you believe, well, how come you voted against so many of Trump's key positions? Well, I think we all know the answer. And we all suspect you were the one who went to Epstein Island. We suspect that they held that over your head, and that's why you eventually changed your mind and ruled Obamacare constitutional, which we all know it wasn't. And, history will not be good to John Roberts. And I think a lot more is going to come out about this guy because he's dirty. He's as dirty as they come. And, I was hoping against hope that somehow in the Epstein material, we know that they have a lot of video recordings. And somehow I was hoping and praying that they had a video recording of John Roberts, because I think it would be highly beneficial for Donald Trump to be able to name the next Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. But I suppose that's a dream. I suppose it's not something we're going to see happen. But in any case, then Trump went with Bill Barr. And the amazing thing here is we then find out way after the game. In fact, we didn't find out here into Trump's second term, or perhaps running for a second term. It didn't, at least I consider myself a news junkie, so I didn't see anything about it. But apparently Bill Barr's father was the one who hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach at a school that he was in charge of. And at the time, Jeffrey Epstein did not even have the teaching credentials that one should have possessed to be teaching in that school. So we know Bill Barr's father was involved in Jeffrey Epstein. And so it should be no surprise once we found that information out. We then understand the context of Bill Barr being Donald Trump's attorney general, and he was there to protect the deep state, which included apparently his father. And I suggest it also includes him. But it is what it is, and we have to deal with it. And it's not fun, but it is what it is. And then Trump, this term, he picks Bondi. And again, I thought Bondi was going to be the great example. But you know what I think the problem is here? The financial incentive to go against the president is so high. And I have no proof that Bondi did anything illegal. I have plenty of proof that she was provided the evidence of plenty of crimes committed by Democratic operatives, and she chose to do nothing in these cases. So there had to be a reason. And I suggest that, let's assess her position. We know she wants to climb the ladder, but when she looks at the ladder, she has to recognize that there are a number of people far above her on the ladder. And so it doesn't appear that anytime soon she's going to be able to attain any higher office. And so perhaps she says, you know what, I'm looking at my age and everything. How about I just accept all of these, how shall we say, sideline gratuities, and you sneak them into the pocket. You somehow launder them through who knows which bank where. But all these politicians know the avenue to legalize their ill-gotten gains. Plus, there's really little hope that the government's going to actually prosecute any of these people. But Donald Trump, in my humble opinion, this guy really needs to get with the program soon. Uh, he needs to find a good attorney general. I don't think, let me say, I live in Florida, and Governor DeSantis, for the most part, has been a good governor. But I'm going to do a separate video on why Ron DeSantis' political career should come to an end when he finishes his second term here as governor of Florida. I'll leave that to another video. But so in closing, let me just say it's great that Georgia is looking into Stacey Abrams. I just don't understand why the federal government isn't, and apparently hasn't been, because based on all the information that Doge provided, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot more that they needed to do in an investigation before they could charge her. So she's just falling in the class of politicians that won't be touched. It's unfortunately too big a class. And that's why I think we're doomed ultimately. I don't see how we get out of this when we have politicians who so blatantly and flagrantly rule against the will of the people. It's a sad situation we live in these days, but I implore all of you to stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. It gets crazier by the day, but we have to deal with it. It is what it is. Thank you. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye.